Hello and welcome to another episode of the Online Course Coaching Podcast. And today I'm joined by Dr. Kevin Maples, who's a online course instructor, and he's very knowledgeable in the art of photography. And he's been making some cash with sports photography for the last 14 years. And he's also a scholar and a few other things as well. So welcome to the show, Kevin.
Hey, thanks, Tim. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah, no, it's great to have you here because as we'll get in as the show goes further along, is that Kevin has actually been a big help to me. He's sort of been a little bit behind the scenes for me. So when I put a new course out, Kevin goes through it and he gives me some tips and tricks on my camera setup and that sort of stuff, which has been very helpful and very insightful. So we'll actually go through that as well. So now I can actually thank you in person for all that help you've been giving me, Kevin.
Oh yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about authenticity. But before we get into that, Kevin, just want to bring us up to speed with a bit of your background.
Yeah, sure. I really love teaching in general, and so I'm new to Udemy. This is the first course that I've taught on there. It's the course on sports photography. And there's a lot of things I could teach. I have 4 degrees. One of them is a research doctorate, and I got another research master's, in things unrelated to photography. But when I started looking at Udemy, I just took some courses and I just really had a great experience and I loved it. And I thought, wow, I could do this. And so I started thinking about things that people might want to know. And I'm not sure that they really want to know some of the academic things that I've done. So I thought about something practical. And I've done photography for several years and different types of photography, but my favorite is sports. I really enjoy that and had the opportunity to be team photographer for an American football team, not soccer like they call football around the rest of the world, but American football for several years and really just enjoyed that and fell in love with it. And one of the things that I really love about sports photography is getting a great shot of a young person and seeing them just be excited about it. I mean, there's a lot of joy in that. So I really enjoy doing that. So I just taught my first course. It's been up for a month now, and it's going pretty well.
Awesome. And yes, I've got a bit of a common background there too, because I spent about 11 years in elite sport doing it. Well, I suppose in the States you call us athletic trainers. Over here we call them sports trainers, but same sort of thing. So the guy sort of straps and massages and runs out with the band-aids when they hurt themselves. And in Australia, we would call American football gridiron. We call soccer. And because over here our footy is normally either referred to as rugby league or Australian rules football. So yeah, we've got the same sort of naming issues here as well. Okay, gotcha. So let's get on with the actual topic that we're going to be discussing today, and that's authenticity, both in the creation of your course and also then in obviously the publishing and the promotion. So do you want to lead us in on that topic?
Yeah, when we think about authenticity, I think when you perhaps are thinking about your first experience teaching or creating a course, I think most people think, what could I do to teach a course? I know several people I told that I was teaching this course online, and the first response that I got when they understood how it worked, they said, well, I couldn't teach anything. And I said, well, yeah, you could. And let's go through some of their hobbies and different things. And of course, they don't realize that they have skills to teach because, for example, this one person I talked to is a hobby gardener on a very serious level. And I said, you could teach gardening. And of course, they said, no, I couldn't. And the reason why they were thinking this is because they envision themselves teaching other expert master gardeners. And they said, hey, what could I teach that they would possibly want to know? And I said, no, you're thinking about the wrong audience. I said, there's tons of people that know absolutely nothing about gardening, and they need somebody to take them from step 1 through to where you are. And so there's definitely things you can teach. And I say that as a lead-in because I think some people face a temptation to oversell themselves because they think, well, I don't really have anything I could teach, And so when they come up with a topic, then they try to present themselves as though they're the end-all, be-all master, and I don't think that you have to be making $20,000 a month on Udemy to be a legitimate course creation knowledge person that you can share. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so sometimes I think people try to inflate their credentials and different things. And the problem is it's just like padding a resume. It works fine to get your foot in the door, but then you're probably going to get fired because you can't do the job. And I think that's what I've seen with people who have had a lot of success on Udemy is they have multiple classes or courses, if you will. And so they get a following and people keep taking different courses. And the only way that people are going to continue to take different courses is if your first course was good. And so if you oversell it and you're totally inauthentic about who you are, then people are not going to be sold on your skills. They're not going to be willing to buy other courses if they think that you're just not who you really present yourself to be.
Mm.
And I think go ahead.
No, you go.
Yeah. So, and I think it's important for people to just have some confidence about themselves. I think that many times people get caught in a lie with work, or in a lie in sales or whatever that was really unnecessary. In fact, perhaps if they had been honest, it might even been better than what they tried to do. I got a friend that owns a computer business, and he was trying to sell a job to do a multi-site network. And so this attorney told him exactly what he wanted to do. He had his different offices, and he wants these computers to be set up a certain way and everything. And so he said to my friend, he said, "Can you do that?" He said, "Do you know how to do that?" He said, "No, I don't." He said, but I've got good contractors, and I can know how to do this part and this part, and I'll get some good contractors to do that other part, and we'll figure it out." And the guy hired him. He said, "You're hired," because he said, "You're the first person that admitted they could." He said, "I knew nobody could do all those different areas." He said, "You're the first person that admitted it and was honest." And so, sometimes being authentic is so much more effective than trying to, oversell yourself.
I think it's all got to do with with connection, and you did right. You will get found out if you present yourself as something other than what you're not. You may not be found out this week or next week, but you will become undone. And you're dead right. You're only as good as your last course, and the only way that you're going to make money, to generate a stable and consistent residual income, is through constant course sales and by always generating more courses and more courses. So if you're not presenting the information, so if the contents don't match the label, then there's a few things that are going to happen, isn't it? Like people, they're going to firstly leave you a very bad review, and that's going to stick with you forever, and secondly, they're not going to purchase any of your future courses. So
they may ask for a refund as well, and so you may even lose that sale.
Yeah, so you lose the sale, you get a 1-star review, and for what? And Kevin, you in that sort of lead in, you've mentioned so many gems, and we talk about when we know something, we just take it for granted. We just assume that everybody else is on the same level, and that we've got to take it probably from our level up, and that's what you're saying. So then we sort of oversell ourselves and whatever else. And what we've got to understand is that there are people out there without a clue, right? Excuse me. They've just identified their problem, and they don't know the next step. And you think, but how could that be? There's so much information on the internet. There's so much there. Well, I'm just going through doing some research now on like people's biggest problems when they're creating online courses, and it's always a common like there's probably 3 things that come up all the time. 1, getting started. 2 is technology, so how to use the software and how to use equipment. And 3 is marketing, right? Common. And there's thousands and thousands of these questions out there. So regardless of what information is already out there, obviously it's not meeting the need of the consumer, or they're not finding it. They can't find the information.
Well, see, I think this is part of the problem. There's so much information out there now that we're flooded with information, and it's time consuming to sift through it. So for example, I mean, I'll be totally honest. In my sports photography course, there's nothing that you cannot find for free somewhere on the internet. You can find some YouTube video or somebody, but the deal is, in my course, it's all organized and packaged together in one place from point A to point B, so you don't have to look for anything. It's all together. It's organized, and I think there's tremendous value in that. And so people will say, well, everything that I want to do is on YouTube. Well, that's true, but try looking for it, and you'll find, you got to go through all these different videos of varying quality, and different people. They start at different places, and so trying to accumulate all the information that you need is a task. And so when you put together a course, then you really provided value because you put all this together in one place. And the other thing is, you can't interact with people. There might be somebody that would respond to a question on a YouTube video. I don't know. But when you're in a course, you can interact with a professor, and or the teacher, and you can ask questions. That's another great value of course,
Absolutely. And some, once again, you're coming down to another key aspect that a lot of people don't understand, and that is the power of curation. There is so much information. Like, even I could look at the information that's on my website through all these podcasts, and I could put it into a book or a course and call it the Definitive Guide to Online Course Creation, and it would sell because it is all in one place, and it's been organized because obviously the podcast episodes aren't in any sort of logical order from start to finish. They jump all around the place, depending on who the guest is. So to actually put that into an order, into a logical sequence, and then to incorporate tasks and activities, quizzes and engagement activity, and then once again, as you're saying, actually connecting with and talking with the students, and then even bring them on to things like Blab, and then saying, like, at the end of this interview, we're going to open up that seat and people can jump in and ask questions in live time, and that's what you don't get anywhere else. So
right,
yeah, people think, oh no, they go on and they look for a subject and they think, there's already 100 courses out there. So what? And that's probably a good thing, because that means there's money. Well, it's an indication that there's interest there. Like, if you go out there, yeah, like if you go out there and you search for a topic and there's nothing there, and you think, oh, eureka, I found something that nobody has ever touched, and I'm going to make $1 million. Well, the chances are the reason why there's no information there is because research has shown there's no market there. So competition is good, but you've just probably got to look at positioning yourself and look for what is missing. I'm doing a course by Evan Pagan at the moment, and it's about creating digital products, and it's full on. It's probably a little bit more than a Udemy course, but it goes into the fact that what is a niche, and people think they've actually got to go out and find a niche, and even says no, you actually have to fill a niche. A niche is a gap. A niche is a void in the market. So it's a place where the information isn't, and that's what you want to fill. So it's finding a need and addressing a need and filling that niche. And there's ways to research to find what isn't being covered. So there might be 100 courses on that subject, but you can guarantee that there's a part of that topic that isn't covered well or at all that you can actually cover.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so how are you going to ensure authenticity in your course creation?
That's a good question. So here's something that maybe you could ask yourself. If I show this to the people that know me best, are they going to be impressed, or are they going to laugh at me and say, I didn't know you did that. I didn't know you were capable of that. That's a question maybe to keep yourself honest as you're thinking through. We got a question there.
Yeah, now that's from Roy, and I say hello, Roy. It's been a long time no see. And Roy, yes, you are exactly right. You've got to be solving, well, firstly, for whom. So yeah, you've got to identify your avatar or your market, and you've got to be crystal clear and focused on your market, and then saying, what is their problem? What am I solving? What pain am I taking away? That's absolutely perfect. That's correct, Roy.
And, when you think about the market, one of the things that I think we're seeing here when we're talking about wide course creation, and obviously this is pretty new in the last few years, it's really just exploded and taken off. We've become very much video driven. And I don't really know if it's because of smartphones, because everybody has instant access to video, and now most people have data streaming fast enough that you can handle videos. But you think about this. One of the studies I saw said that YouTube is now the second most used search engine, second only to Google. And we're not talking about just looking for videos, just looking for anything, period. Search engine, second most used, YouTube. And so what does that say? This is that people like receiving information by video. In other words, they like a real person explaining things to them as opposed to reading a book. And whether that's good or bad, I don't know. But there's a definite market to produce this information in a different medium. And the other thing that the internet has done is we are so used to having access to people now. I mean, think about this. You can send a message on Twitter to anybody in the world. And I'm amazed sometimes at how many people who are, very successful, very busy people who normally before you would have never thought you'd have access to. You send them a message and they'll message you back. And so we've become used to having access to people. And that's one of the things that the course does. It brings together, first of all, this medium of video and people being able to watch explanations versus reading. And so it brings together this medium, and then it brings together this access to a person, a real life person that you can ask questions. And so what I'm saying is that these two things have really created a niche, or a niche, as you say. I don't know which one it is.
Yeah. Well, nor do I. I don't know. Well, now when you spell it, it probably is niche, but the English and the Australians like to say niche. So tomato.
That's right.
and it's saying, and people saying here, like saying, Jody says that she watches videos because she can't read too well, and we all have our preferred learning. Like I know, I got when I was in another VIP group, I was in an internet marketing group with a guy called Alex Jeffries, and created this product, and I put it to the group for review, and this one bloke came back and he absolutely slammed me, and it was because it was about an hour and a half of interviews with industry experts and everything else, and it even had the full transcript, and it had the audio, so I thought I had it all covered. I had the video, I had the audio, and I had the transcript. And this bloke turned back and says, "I don't have time to go through an hour and a half. I just want a cheat sheet. Just put it all on one piece of paper and just go point, and then that's all I want. I don't have time for that rubbish." And I'm going, whoa, okay. So it's an insight into and that's neither right nor wrong. That's just the way that they prefer to learn. So we've got to cater for that, and I think that when we are designing our coursework, we've got to take all those learning styles into consideration. So provide an audio that they can put on their phone and listen to when they drive, provide a transcript or some sort of written material, and provide cheat sheets and info sheets and that sort of stuff as well, quick reference guides to just to cater for all those different mediums. Now, not everybody is going to use all those resources,
right?
But at least they're there,
right?
Okay, preferred learning, and okay, let's talk about promotion, Kevin. So we're still talking about authenticity. I think the most important thing is when it comes to promotion, how are you going to promote your course to your audience when you're not a perceived expert?
So I think you gotta know your audience. So for example, here's what I'm trying to do to promote my course. Some of the things I have a blog where I blog about photography, and that's at imageupskill.com. And so I've got a Twitter account. It's imageupskill. It's a Twitter account I'm on right now. So I try to think about who can I connect with. Well, if I search for photography, then what happens is I find a bunch of photographers on Twitter, and they're not going to learn anything from my course. I'm a semi-pro photographer. I do photography on the side. My course is basic photography. So So that's not the market, and so that that's what I realized early on. I said, well, I got the wrong group here, the wrong audience. I need to find people who know nothing about photography and want to learn. So one of the things that I did is I went to different websites and Twitter accounts that were teaching basic photography, and I started following those people that were following those accounts. I said, hey, if they're interested in these basic photography tips, they would be interested in my course. And so I've tried to be careful, not to present myself as a photographer for photographers, but as a coach and a helper for people who want to be photographers. And so that's the audience I'm trying to connect with. And so I think it's important for people to also understand, you don't have to be at 0.5 in order to help somebody who's at 0.1 go to 0.2. You just got to be at 0.2 yourself already. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so anybody that is learning how to use a DSLR for the first time, or maybe they do hobby photography or they're enthusiasts, but they never done action, then I can help those people. And so that's my market. Mm-hmm. And so I can be authentic without trying to present myself as though, I have some big photography studio in downtown Atlanta or something. I can just simply present myself as somebody who loves photography, enjoys doing it, has been doing it for a long time, makes money at it, and I can help them get to where I am. And so, one of the things in proof, like my promo video for my course, I show one picture after another, just in a slideshow as I'm talking about, what the course includes. And all those pictures are pictures that I've taken. They're all sports action shots. And the hope is that people will look at those photos and they'll say, oh, I don't really know how to take photos like that. And so then they'll say, obviously this guy has something to teach me. And so that way, I can be authentic. I share photos on my blog. I share photos on Twitter that I've taken. And same thing, I hope people see those and they say, obviously this guy has some skill. And so that's the way you can authentically interact with your target audience without overselling yourself or being dishonest in any way.
Mm. And I said, and it's a great course too. I can say that from an authentic point of view, because I've actually gone through it. Yeah. So and that's the thing too, is when you are promoting or recommending a resource or a course, it's always good that you've actually looked at it and gone through it, and that you actually believe yourself there is value, that you are actually passing on value to others, and that is definitely the case with your course. And what I like about your course is, like, I went into that course knowing absolutely nothing about a DSLR camera, and I'm learning about apertures and all sorts of stuff, and that's how you get it all sort of blurry in the background. I like that. And then, but you also show people how to start off very affordably, and that's sort of like a big thing, like, because I look at a camera and saying, I'm looking at a camera because at the moment I shoot all my course videos off my phone, as you know, and I am looking at going to a proper video camera, and I don't know whether I'm going to go for like a video camera, or whether I'm going to go for a DSLR camera with video capabilities. But either way, like, you're coming up to the $1,000 mark or beyond if you're looking for a DSLR camera with good video, with good video functionality. So, but that's cost inhibitive at the moment. There's things I'm spending my money on. Mm-hmm. But what you did in your course is you said, look, this isn't the latest and the greatest, but it's what I use, and it will do the job. And you gave them an affordable entry point, which I thought was brilliant, as well as a very in-depth but easy to follow. Like I said, for somebody who's got absolutely no idea about the front end of a camera from the back end of a camera, you gave a very clear and concise and easy to follow tutorial, but also gave an affordable entry point, which was fantastic. Yeah.
And it's a little off topic. We can talk later about some cheaper options for you on the DSLR video, but
cool. Yeah, because that's definitely on my agenda. And coming back to topics to teach and being authentic and saying, because that's another question that comes up. Like, when I'm doing all my research, people say, I don't believe I have anything that people want to know. And I think the first thing is that if you can't identify something yourself, ask a family or friend member, and you'll be surprised, because our greatest skills and talents are just that, our greatest skills and talents, and they come totally naturally to us, and we don't even appreciate the skills that we have because we just do it.
Yeah.
But other people appreciate what we do. So to identify, and another thing that you can do is a classic. It's done all the time. And it's called learn, apply, teach. So go learn a new skill, apply it yourself, put it into action, get a result, and then go teach it. And then as Kevin said, you don't have to be at 0.5. You just have to be a little bit further along the track. And people will prefer to learn from you because you've just gone through it. So you're current, and you have just overcome that hurdle that they're sort of sitting at now. And so you can say, well, yeah, I had exactly the same thing 2 weeks ago, and this is how I got over that hurdle to get to the next step. So learn, apply, teach. And sometimes it's just the simplest things. Like I was talking to somebody in a podcast interview the other week, and his first course on Udemy was how to make the perfect omelette, for goodness sake. So basic life skills. I said, what you've got to appreciate is that people don't necessarily, people aren't where you're at.
Yeah, there's a lady on Udemy, and I don't remember her name. You probably don't remember, but she's made $25,000 her first year teaching people how to bake bread. And
sourdough bread.
Yeah, it's amazing. Who knew there was such a market for that? But yeah, and I think the learn, apply, teach method may be one of the most effective, because here's the thing, Tim. It's just like the greatest athletes, they don't make very good coaches because everything comes so natural to them. They don't know how to start at point A and teach people what they don't know. They don't necessarily know what they don't know. And so sometimes the greatest coaches are the people that really struggled with it. And so they had to learn it step by step. And so then therefore they know how to teach it step by step. And that's one of the things that can be good about the learn, apply, teach is, you take something that you can learn, like maybe if you're a computer guy, a new language is not that hard if you already know some. And so then you go through that process and it's fresh. Like you said, it's fresh in your mind. That's definitely a good approach.
Because now to take what you've said and take it even deeper is because then you can break it down step by step, because it is fresh. And that's the other thing that you must consider when you're always doing a course, okay, is that you should always, especially with your first course, you should always target it at the beginner, because you want a niche. You want to have a very, very specific niche, but you don't want to become too specific within that niche, if you know what I mean. So if you were targeting meditation, for example, and you're doing meditation for busy executives or whatever, well, you don't want to take them through advanced breathing techniques, ninja tactics for de-stressing the busy executive. You want to take them through 5-minute step-by-step beginner meditation techniques for busy executives, right? Because that you're still niching, but you're going at the beginner's level. Then with your next course, you could probably step it up to ninja tactics, and then promote back to the people in your basic and beginner's course. But within your very specified niche, you want to have as big a market as you can. So always target the beginner market. And then secondly is never, ever assume that your information is too basic. Never assume that you are insulting somebody by telling them how to suck eggs, because some people don't know how to suck eggs. So you've got to go right back to the basics, and step 1, step 2, step 3. And what sounds absolutely ridiculous and ludicrous to you is extremely helpful to somebody who has no idea and who's just starting out.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Okay, is there anything else, Kevin, that you want to mention as far as this on this authenticity subject?
I think we've covered authenticity pretty well. I'd be glad to move on to some questions if you want to ask some questions, and however you want to go from here.
Yeah, for sure. What we'll do is we'll open up, we'll unlock this seat.
Okay.
So if somebody wants to come in and have a chat, I've got a USB mouse, and it's giving me I'm going to go and buy a wired mouse soon. Okay, so the seat is open. So please, if you want to jump in and have a chat, you can. If you're worried about appearing on camera, you can disable your webcam. You don't have to come on camera, but you can still come into that seat and ask questions live, or you can enter your questions into the question box. as I said, Kevin has been a big help to me because I said I was where it doesn't matter how long you've been creating courses for. Like I am the first to admit, when it comes to lights, camera, I'm no good. Action's fine. Once the camera's rolling, I'm good to go. But setting up cameras and setting up lights and everything else, it does my head in, and it takes me ages. So Roy's coming in. So Kevin was kind enough to give me some tips about camera placement and everything else.
Hi, Tim.
Hey Roy, welcome. How are you? It's been a long time.
I'm fabulous. Hi, Kevin.
Hey, Roy. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, guys, great topic. That's what made me jump in. Not only the fact that I know Tim, and now I'm getting to know you, Kevin. It's just the authenticity word got me, right? Why is authenticity in course creation so important? I mean, it sounds like a pretty remedial question. It sounds like it's common knowledge, but I guess who came up with the question or with the title? Was it you, Tim?
I'd have to grant that to Kevin.
Oh,
I always ask
Kevin.
my
so my
I always ask
question.
my guests what they like to talk about.
My question would be to Kevin. Kevin, what were you thinking when you put that particular question up? Because it's pretty thought provoking, and from what I've been hearing the both of you say so far, I totally agree with everything. So, how did this thought enter your mind? Was there anything you were reading, thinking about, and just decided, look, this would make a great blab?
Yeah, I just saw. I've seen some courses that I was wondering why they were courses. So if you go on Udemy, I mean, so there's just the quality's all over the gamut, and so and the same thing with YouTube. I'm kind of new to video production. That's totally new to me. Before I did this course, I'd never made a video of any kind. So I had to watch all these YouTube videos on how to use Adobe Premiere Pro and different things. And, I found people that knew less than I did trying to teach these tutorials, and they were like messing up in the middle of the tutorial and starting over and correcting themselves. And then they still uploaded it to YouTube. I was like, hey, why did you upload that? And so, and yet at the same time, they're selling themselves as video professionals who are, trying to market teaching video. And so I think there's just a lot of people trying to be something that they're not, and that's short-lived at best. On when you're talking about these courses, you're not gonna build a platform by overselling yourself. And one of the things we covered earlier is I think it's really just unnecessary, because you got to have some kind of skill or you wouldn't still be alive. I mean, stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know things.
Kevin's so, right on. I love it.
So just teach something you actually know. So,
Kevin, you might want to let that person know there should be a little smidgen maybe of passion there too, because if they're able to actually do it, it's in their wheelhouse of gifting and talent. It comes easy to them. But wouldn't passion have to be a part of that? Something I heard before you answer several years ago, but it's so applicable now here on Blab, and I share it every opportunity I get. And the one-liner goes like this: if you don't enjoy meeting people, guess what? People will not enjoy meeting you. And what you're saying is basically what I'm hearing, because these people who put this junk, let's call it what it is, out on places like Udemy and this and that and whatever, because they hear it's like, oh, this is the latest, greatest thing to make money on the internet, right? Because that's what they're after. They're the 97% who think you can make money sitting in your underwear in front of the computer. Well, you can, but there's a lot of work and pump priming that goes into that they're not willing to do. And if they're putting out junk like this, we all know, it's not going to happen for them, and they'll probably barely sell anything. And when they do, they'll want a refund. So, hello. And I think that's why authenticity is so great. So you're saying, because I don't know this field, I haven't seen these kinds of products, especially on Udemy. I don't know. I'm learning. That's why another thing is why I love what Tim does. I love what Mark does. Those are my two go-to guys right now for Udemy. So what could you say would probably be the someone says, I don't know what niche to get into. What is selling well over at Udemy that you can tell us? Of course, photography is going to be really, really big. Everybody needs to know that. So that's pretty obvious. But what would be some of the top 2 or 3, Kevin and Tim, that you would share with us? Because I really would like to know.
Well, Udemy make it really easy for you because they actually have a page on their site called is it Top Selling Courses or Top Sellers or something or other, which actually it's top. I'll find it for you, Roy, and I'll tweet
that
it
sounds
to you.
like
But
that's
it's actually
the answer right there. Nice.
But usually anything to do with marketing, so social media, marketing, and programming languages are pretty hot from what I've seen. Can I just mention something too about the problem with all this sort of stuff hitting Udemy and the ripple effect that it has. Now, Udemy is a great place for beginners to get onto because they've got to go through a validation process. So their courses have to be reviewed for quality, for audio and video quality. But Udemy cannot possibly have so many topic experts there to actually validate content quality. So you might have a beautifully produced video with fantastic audio, and the content is rubbish. And the other thing they're fighting with is a lot of PLR stuff happening. But what you're saying is really, really true, Roy, is that a lot of people are seeing Udemy as the next big thing where they can just throw something together in an afternoon, right, and throw it up on Udemy, and they're going to make millions of dollars. And nothing can be further from the truth. But the ripple effect from that is that it fills the marketplace with rubbish. It gives the prospective students a bad experience because now they've got to sift through the coal to get to the diamonds. And so it really puts a skilled instructor in a grotty marketplace, and it's just getting worse. What do you think about that, Kevin? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do, and I think the problem, Roy, with the question that you asked is the whole thing with passion, because you said, what's hot, what's selling, what's the niche. Well, I mean, it doesn't matter unless you're an IT guy or really serious about wanting to become one, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to produce the course, and it's a lot of work to maintain it. It's a lot of work to market it. So to follow up on what you said, if you're not passionate about it, you're not going to follow through long term. And so I think it's more important to look at what skills you have or you're interested in learning, and then kind of go. And then maybe you check and see if there's a niche. But I don't think anybody wants to learn a new programming language just so they can teach it, unless they're already gifted toward IT and that's their deal. It's just too much work. You're not going to be passionate about it. And I think one of the things that we're seeing with Udemy is you need multiple courses to be successful. And so and the reason is, so for example, I came on with my first course a month ago, so I had no base. Nobody on Udemy knows me. Nobody on the internet knows that I do photography. I got customers here local that buy stuff, but they're not interested in learning how to do it, So I didn't have any kind of a base. And so I started off, from scratch. It looks like Roy took off there on us.
I don't know. Is he?
Guys, I'm sorry. I got to run. I got a call. So I'll catch the replay on this. So keep.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure.
Sure. Thanks, Roy.
So, no real base. And so still sold, a few courses, and I was real pleased with how the first month went. But as I add more photography courses, you see, all those people have taken previous courses that have been real happy, and I've got extraordinary reviews, so far. So I know that people are very happy with the course. So I know that those are going to be future, customers. And then I just started my marketing with, a blog and Twitter, where I'm constantly putting out free information. I got a YouTube channel that I just started. I'm going to put in free videos there. And so all that's going to be building a base so that when I come out with other courses, it won't be like this first one. I'll have I have customers right away, and
you have
an audience, and of course you're not going to be wanting to do that with something you're not passionate about. And so that's to follow up on Roy's question there about the niche and passion. I think it's really important to make sure you're doing something that you really want to do, that you love talking about or enjoy.
Guys, and I'd like to welcome everybody who's sort of come on to the call as we've gone through, and invite you into the hot seat or to ask a question. We're here to help you. You don't really have to stay on topic per se. If you've got any question about online course creation, marketing, any course about photography, setting up cameras, please take advantage of Kevin's knowledge. While we're waiting for questions to come in, we'll just talk about like the basics of niche selection. And obviously, I was putting a course together for Black Friday, and then and this comes to authenticity, Kevin. Like, I was under the pump. I have construction happening where I'm living. It's very noisy. I wasn't happy with the flow of the lectures, and at the end, like halfway, well, not at the end, but halfway through, I just felt like it was a patchwork quilt. I personally wasn't happy with the quality. I pulled the pin. I didn't actually put a course in for Black Friday because it was my offering wasn't up to my standard, if you know what I mean. And that's another. Sometimes don't march to somebody else's drum, and don't rush a course to market on somebody else's terms. Be authentic to yourself and have your own quality controls. Now, having said that, so part of this course, I'm putting together because it's called Ideas That Sell. So it's all about topic selection and market research, and it's done in 3 steps. And I'll just take you through it very quickly because I don't care whether you buy the course or not. I'll still give you the information, right? Number 1 is obviously identifying a topic, and to do that we do a list. Number 2 is then we do market research to find out whether there's actually an audience, whether there's a hungry audience, whether that audience is willing to pay for information, or whether they're happy to consume free information. And the 3rd step is to get into the mind of your prospective customer to find out the questions they're asking, and so that when you're actually designing your course curriculum and putting your information together, you're actually answering questions. And when you go through this process, what you find is that your course actually markets itself, because if you go through search engines and everything else, find out questions that people are asking, and then you incorporate those questions into your course. And then you say, in this course, we're answering this question, this question, this question. You even name your section titles and your lecture titles to the questions in the search engine. And as long as the content matches the label and you're actually delivering, then your course will market itself. So let's look at step 1 in topic selection. And step 1 in topic selection is making a list. And actually what it is, it's making 3 lists. List number 1, what are you good at? What skills do you have which you believe you have enough knowledge and expertise to teach? List number 2, what are you passionate about? What do you love? Now, you don't just put stuff on there that you know that you can teach. Just what do you love, right?
Passion.
And then so it's the passion list. And then you look for any cross. So then you cross match your what am I good at with what do I love, right? List number 3, go to your friends and family and ask them, what am I good at? What skills do I have that you believe other people would like to know? And then you cross match. And that gives you a starting point. Now, you probably want 3 or 4, you probably want to end up with 3 or 4 to start doing your research with, because maybe your first thought isn't there isn't a hungry market there. So and that's rule number 2 is don't get emotionally attached to an idea, whether it's a good idea or a bad idea. Just don't have any emotion attached to that, because if you go through the process and you find that idea number 2 appears to have more interest than idea number 1, but I really love idea number 1, so I'm going to do it anyway. You're going to be wasting some time.
Yeah,
guys, does anybody want to jump into that hot seat?
We got a pretty good comment here,
Kevin?
Tim. It looks like Jody says feedback is also important to keep you true to your path. I think that's true. Feedback is a place where you can definitely get called out if you're not authentic, or obviously quality. And that's one area where authenticity and quality kind of work together, because those 5-star and 4-star reviews are golden. I mean, that's it's cash in the bank, because what do we do when we try to sift through all this stuff today? Whether you're buying books or anything, courses, I mean, you read the reviews. So once you get a bunch of 5-star reviews or 5 and 4-star, that's really going to help you sell that course and even future courses. And so, so great comment there, Jody.
Absolutely. And what's even nice is when you get those non-solicited bypass. And what I mean by that is that you actually haven't gone out and asked your students, "No, can you please leave me a review if you enjoyed that?" And you get up in the morning and you turn your computer on, and it says, Joe Blow has just left you a review, and you're going, "Ooh, no, should I have a look? What sort of reviews are going to be?
Yeah, I want to read it." Yeah.
And then you open up and you say, it's a 5-star review, and they're writing all this glowing stuff about you, and you go, wow, that's and that has come purely from their experience from your course. It keeps you on track. It really shows you where you're hitting and missing as well. And as an instructor, we're not perfect. We're just humans, and we've got to go on and we've got to improve ourselves. And I said, I've just gone off, and I don't even want to think about how much money I've spent in the last month on courses. I've bought into Ray Edwards' copywriting course, and I bought into Eben Pagan's digital blueprint course. So up there, we're probably talking about $3,000 US. So, and that's the education I'm getting to make my courses better and to bring information to you guys. So where I'm out spending $3,000 to learn this, I'm giving it to you guys for free. Why? It's called passion. And my passion is helping people. So I want to see you guys, if creating online courses or information products and educating people is your love and something you're going to do, then I want to help you get there. So that's what it all comes down to. That's what this podcast is all about. Kevin, you got any more? How about some quick tips on because we're saying, like, when you're first starting out creating an online course, you don't want to go out and spend a lot of money getting equipment, because you might find that it's not for you in the end, or whatever else. So it's always sort of good to sort of start with what you've got if you can. And with the quality of cameras these days, like I use a Samsung S6. The quality of cameras on phones these days, if you've got good lighting, because you've got to, I've learned all about the lighting and the size of the lens, and obviously the size of the lens on a mobile phone isn't great, especially when you're using the front camera as opposed to the back camera. So you obviously need some good lighting, but you can record 4K. Is it called 4K or something 4K, or other? Yeah. Video off your phone, but because of the wide angle lens on the phone, there are things to take into consideration. I just want to sort of, because this is like some very important information and help that Kevin gave me, and it changed the way I set up my camera. So Kevin, do you want to sort of go into that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think clearly the best way to get started today is with a phone. I mean, if you already have a smartphone, don't go buy a smartphone, but if you already have a smartphone, unless it's really old, it's going to have a sufficient camera. And the latest smartphones have a more than sufficient camera. And so the phone is definitely the way to go. And one of the key things is audio. I think people will forgive a lot in your course, but they won't forgive audio that they have trouble hearing. So I personally think, by reading a lot of reviews and everything that I've seen, that the number one factor to consider is your audio. You want to make sure people can hear clearly. And so it's not going to work to you got a lapel there, don't you? It's not going to work to use the microphone on your phone. It's just not going to be, the quality's not going to be there. It's not going to work. So fortunately there's very inexpensive options. I use a lapel mic that costs $25 off Amazon. I get excellent quality with that, and I don't have a link right now. That I could supply a link later. I don't know how that works. If we can get a link to people later, if they're interested in the mic that I use. But
well, yeah. If you email me links for your course and for the mic,
yeah.
I'll put that into the show notes. I've actually got a link here too.
Okay.
I use a Rode SmartLav lavalier. It's probably
that's about
a little
$75, I think, for Rode SmartLav.
What I like about the Rode SmartLav is it's a broadcast quality, because, as I said, I've got construction around me.
Yeah.
So it's a cardioid, like a broadcast cardioid mic.
Yep.
And what cardioid means is that its pickup. So like if you have the lapel sitting on your collar, its pickup is like this. So if you got people sort of bashing and crashing out there, or doors slamming here, the chance of it actually coming through on your audio are very, very low. But what I do then is I use this phone to do my video on, and I've used this phone, an S4, with a proper audio app, so where it can actually adjust audio levels, and I plug the Rode SmartLav straight into this, and then when I hit record button, I give a clap, and so the audio track is recorded separately to the video track, and then when we come into the video editing, we line up the clap to get the audio, and it's beautiful. Sometimes I might put the audio through Audacity as well. It just depends on. Yeah. But there's a link in there for the Rode SmartLav anyway.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. Most phones now have it's called a TRS jack, where there's 4 poles on the plug, and one of those is for a microphone. So you can buy a lapel mic, which is what that SmartLav is. And the one that I use is it's an omnidirectional, so it's not. And what that means is, it picks up everything as opposed to picking up unidirectional. So it's just as good if you have a controlled environment. But if you're like outside, you can pick up background noise and stuff. And I just bought it because I wasn't sure if this was going to even work out for me. It's my first course, so for $25 it works really well. And I did buy a $2.99 app to adjust the volumes, like you said. I do the same exact thing. Now, I use Adobe Premiere Pro for the video editing, and one of the things about that, if you have access to that program, is it will automatically sync the audio and video for you, so you don't have to manually line up your clap. And it does the same thing. I show, I get ready to film, I do the clap, and then it automatically lines it up for me, though I don't have to do that. And so that works pretty nice. But yeah.
And what software was that?
Adobe Premiere Pro.
Okay, have a look.
Yeah,
at that
and
as well.
I'm not a video guy, cool. So that's the only software that I've used. I don't know about the others, so some people may say others do it better or whatever. I don't know, but that's just the software that I had access to, and so I use that, and it automatically syncs for you. So if you want to get started, then your phone and the inexpensive lapel mic that you can plug into the phone. And then sometimes I record separately, but also I think for like $10, I bought a 15-foot extension cord so that I can plug my lapel in to the phone I'm recording with and still have space to be back from it. And so sometimes I'm able to do that. Yeah, there you go. You got the same thing. Yeah. So, and then on lighting, because I'm a photographer, I already had some lights. I had some continuous lights. But then I got ready to do some green screen video. The next course I'm working on, I'm using green screen. And I found a YouTube tutorial. Yeah, there you go. There's your green screen. It looks like chalkboard almost. Using green screen. And so I needed another set of lights because I needed lights on me, plus I needed lights on the green screen. And so what I did was I found a YouTube tutorial how to build bank lights with basically shop lights from Lowe's. And so they work extremely well, and they're not cheap because just the fluorescent bulbs are expensive. I think I spent about $150 the time I bought the bulbs. I spent almost as much on the bulbs as I did the fixture and everything. But they work really, really well, and not only do they work well as far as lighting, but I don't know what kind of metal those things are made out of, but they can burn for 2 hours and they're still cold to the touch. And so when you're in an enclosed environment, you may not think about that, but heat is a big deal. You start getting light everywhere, it can get hot. And not only can you be uncomfortable, it can be a hazard, if it gets too close to furniture or whatever. So anyway, and I'll be glad to shoot you a link for that YouTube video. It takes you step by step through how I built those lights. But so that's my setup. And then now, so we were talking about DSLR earlier. I started out recording with a phone, and then I bought another DSLR that had video capability, and I bought the Canon Rebel T5. And so the Rebel obviously is the entry level DSLR line for Canon. And so I bought it used, but it was basically in brand new condition for $250, and it shoots high definition video. And so so that was a good way to go. And then also, Tim, the T3i, which is an older Canon Rebel, still does high definition video.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and you can get that for even cheaper. And it also has the T3i has an external mic jack. So if you at some point want to invest in like a Rode mic, you can plug that in to the T3i. And so for way less than $1,000, you can have something that's suitable. Now it doesn't shoot in 4K, and a lot of people have said, well, 4K seems like it's a waste. It's more than you need. Okay, so that is true as far as we're not going to broadcast in 4K. But here's one of the things that people don't think about: if you shoot in 4K, then you have extremely high resolution. Then you can crop it. And the advantage of cropping is that with one camera, in your post-production editing software, you can zoom in, you can zoom out, and you can cut to different angles. And so with just one camera, you can make it look like you shot with more than one camera. And with zooming in and zooming out, you can make it look like you were shooting with a very high-end professional video camera versus a DSLR. And so that's one of the reasons. And you can do that with your phone. You don't have to have a DSLR to do that. Your phone shoots 4K video. And so if you shoot in 4K, then you've got plenty of resolution to clip part of that, and that clipping will still be high def because you started out with ultra high def. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what I do after your advice. Is now I've got my phone set on a tripod further back. I shoot in 4K and I crop it, and then I enlarge it, and it all works very nicely.
Yeah. So. Yeah, one of the things and you were talking about help with you earlier. I had taken a couple of Tim's courses, and so I knew what he looked like. And so I took another course, and I was like, whoa, that doesn't look like Tim. His chin and nose are really big. And so I knew immediately what had happened. You got too close to a wide angle lens, and it'll distort you. And so anyway, I sent him a message and said, hey, man, you need to step back from the camera just a little bit. And so anyway, hopefully that helped out.
Absolutely. No, it did. And that's the sort of, sometimes constructive criticism is just as important as a 5-star review. And I'll never leave a 1-star public review because I'm an instructor. I just don't. Sometimes I don't think they're very constructive. I just think they're just bitchy, right? But I will do the same sort of thing. I will privately message an instructor and go, look, I think there's a little bit of a problem here. You can either take what I say or leave what I say, but this is my opinion. But this sort of helped too. And when somebody comes to you and says, look, you're standing too close to the camera, and this is happening. Take the time to thank them for taking the time, because they've taken as much care and concern to actually write to you and say, this is an issue and this is how you fix it, than somebody leaving a 5-star review out there for everybody to see. And that one piece of advice then goes on, and it changes your entire approach to videoing the rest of your courses, and obviously increases the quality of everything else you produce. So yeah, absolutely golden information. And saying I always if people come back with some criticism in a constructive way, I always take it on board, and I look at it and I thank them. And that's, I think as instructors we should always do that, and not get our feelings hurt and everything else.
Yeah, and I
just want to say too.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to be negative anyway. I was trying to be helpful.
No,
and and that's part of the thing is I heard another instructor say this, and I thought it was so true. that, you know, rising tide lifts all ships. And that's why in an environment like Udemy, I think it's important for us to help each other, you know, and cooperate. We got somebody looking to jump in there.
We've got somebody coming in, Marcus. Hopefully I might get my mouse to work. If I can't get my mouse to work, probably.
I got it.
You got it.
Oh.
Hello, Marcus. Hello, Marcus.
He didn't have his earbuds in. He stepped away for a minute. There we go.
Hello, Marcus. We can't hear you. Can you just check your audio? All right, we might.
Okay, I heard something.
You're very, very soft.
I'll get it.
That's getting better. All right, Marcus can probably call in again when he's set. I just want to talk about plugging that Smart Lab straight into your phone. I did do that initially. When I first, that's why I've got the extension cord, and I plugged it straight into the S6, but I had no volume control when I was videoing, and I found that the actual volume control was too high. It was actually pinging and redlining.
Yeah.
And so that's why I had to then turn around and do it separately to put it through a proper audio control program to get the levels right and to shoot with a separate audio track, which I think, quite frankly, if you're looking for good audio, is probably the best way to go anyway.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think so. I do the same thing, Tim. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anybody else? Has anybody else got any questions? We've come up to the hour. So does anybody else have a question for Kevin or myself? I'll just pop. So if you go, Danielle. You might forget that. Hang on. You got it.
Hello.
Hey, Danielle.
Hey, thanks for all the information. I have a question for you. I actually have not done, I would say, video tutorial kind of courses online, and I'm interested in doing that. I create videos of snippets of different topics, but it's not in like a course setting. So what would you recommend for a newbie person who wants to get their feet wet? Like, what program would you recommend?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. As far as like, are you talking about a program for learning course creation or a program for editing video or
learning course creation?
Okay. Learning course creation. Tim, did we lose Tim?
Looks like it.
Looks like we lost him. Yeah. I took, I'm not sure what courses Tim has, so he doesn't mind me mentioning a competitor. But I took Alan Hill's course on course creation.
Okay.
And are you familiar with that? And it's a.
Okay. Hello. Lost you too.
Okay, there we go. Now we're back. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I took Alan Hill's course on course creation. It's a 4-hour course. Alan has been very successful on Udemy, and Alan is a retired journalist, so he is very good with. He's very good on camera, and he's very good organizing, and so his course was organized very, very well. And so I followed the direction in his course, and I think have been. Hello. Okay. All right. Hey, Tim. Hey. Tim's back now. Man, I was trying to pass that over to you because I was thinking.
I know, it's terrible, isn't it? Stupid blab.
Yeah, it's in beta.
But I wasn't sure. I hope you don't mind. I mentioned Alan Hill's course on course creation.
That's cool. Yeah, and, I think I've
tell about your course.
I've done a bit of Alan Hill stuff as well. My course is basically a interview. So what I did is I corralled some 6-figure income earners from Udemy. So the idea was that they had to be earning at least 6 figures a year or more. And I just took them through a whole heap of questions about how they went about it. And so it's from start to finish. And I've had some good reviews about it. We don't go into the technical side of this is how you edit a video. This is how you do this, because obviously it's that there's plenty of courses on that subject. But what we do, I put a discount code in the sidebar there for it. But what it does is they're about 45 to 1 hour interviews. There's 3 of them, plus there's some other information coming through from the podcast, and it just talks about, can anybody create a course? How, like, thinking about topic selection, putting courses together, like how you approach structuring your course, how you promote your course, and that sort of stuff. So it's more like an overview, but just saying how did these ordinary people turn around and create these courses and ultimately start making 6 figures a year.
Okay.
And
awesome.
And in the very near future, I've got another. At the end of the month, actually, I'll be interviewing Philip Ebner, and he's now full time. That's just all he does. He just creates courses now, and he makes about $13,000 US a month through his Udemy course sales. So he's one of the guys I interviewed as part of that course, but now I'll be bringing him on because he gave so much information about all the other aspects that we didn't get to talk about promotion. So I've got him coming on at the end of the month to talk about promotion. So that's something for you.
So Udemy, you think that's user friendly for someone who's new to kind of establishing courses?
Yeah, I believe Udemy is probably the best place to start for somebody that's new. They sort of lay it all out for you. And have we left? Is Kevin coming back at some stage? They Udemy. It's follow your nose. They actually have a free. Well, that's it. Like even Udemy have got a free how to create a course. So you can go through that. That's probably a good thing to go through. And the other good thing to go through before you create a course is go through the Udemy terms, like the Udemy policies course, just to make sure that you're not breaching any of their terms and conditions that can get you booted off the system, basically. Now, what's happening with Kevin? Is Kevin?
Okay, I'm back now.
Yay!
Sorry, man.
Thanks for the information.
I'm trying to get back for quite a while.
It's Blab.
You've got to watch that. No, that Blab. Like it isn't like it's a fantastic platform, but it is in beta and it can hurt us. And just talking about Blab, Thursday next week, I'm talking with Janet. We're talking about a different aspect of course creation or course promotion. That is actually creating and promoting courses to businesses, not to individuals. So, like say if you're in the health industry and you create a course and you're actually going to be working directly with an association and selling business to business instead of business to customer. So we'll be doing that. But has that helped you?
Yes, it has. Thank you. Thank you for the information.
Okay,
you're
take
welcome.
care.
Yeah, hey, and I think before you go, one of the things you can do is Udemy has a private Facebook group for instructors. It's called Udemy Studio. And if you join the studio, then a lot of people will share coupons for their course for feedback and help. And one of the things that helped me more than anything was looking at different people's courses and seeing how they were structured. And that really helped me know how to lay out a course and how to present it. And so that's really helpful. And I was trying to respond, but I couldn't get reconnected. But Tim's course that he's talking about, that's one of the first courses I think maybe the second course I took. That's a really inspirational course. That's what convinced me to teach on Udemy. And so that's a really good course.
Okay.
Thanks, Ken.
Well, thanks for the information.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming on. Okay, I think we're I think we might be done. I do apologise for the technical difficulties. Both the hosts got booted at different times, which is always fun. Like it's always an adventure coming onto Blab. It's a great platform. It's a great place to share. It's a great place to have a conversation. It's a great place to learn. But sometimes it can just be a little bit hairy. So you're always in for a ride. Kevin, I'd like to thank you for coming on today and sharing so much information. The topic was a very important topic, because I think we've really got to sort of sit back and have a look at what content is going to be posted to. Nobody else, whether you're going to Udemy. Like at the end of the day, it's you, and it's your reputation at stake. And but it's also having respect for other people out there. And as Kevin has probably done, and as we have all done, probably done a half an hour course or a 45-minute course, and you've walked away from it really, really disappointed and feeling that you've actually that's like half an hour or 3/4 of an hour of your life you'll never get back, and you haven't got anything for it. So yeah, being authentic, making sure that what's on the label is inside the can. And yeah, but thank you so much, Kevin. Is there anything that you want to close with?
That's it, man. And so links, you said you're going to put those in the program notes. I don't know how that works.
Yes. So well, you just email me, because tomorrow I'm going to type up the show notes and put it onto the actual podcast site. So put it onto eCourse Domination. So if you go to eCourse Domination, what happens there is you'll find all the past episodes, but also show notes. So we actually type out like a summary or an overview of what was contained in the interview. And if the guest is sharing a course coupon, that course coupon is also available on the show notes, as well as to any links and resources. So if Kevin shares links to YouTube videos or to Amazon showing cameras and that sort of stuff, all those links will be on the show notes, all those resources there, and that's at eCourseDomination.com. But I think
the link for my course again, if anyone wants to check that out. And if it's okay, I'm going to share the link for my blog.
Yep, for sure. You put it all in, because saying like this is. I say if you want to
free, there's a lot of information there.
Yep, if you want to contact Kevin, these are the ways to. I highly recommend Kevin's course if you are interested in photography. Not even if you're just interested in sports photography, but in photography in general. Because, as I said, I walked in there with no idea at all about. I didn't know one end of a camera from another, and it was very easy to follow. I think I got all my quiz questions right, and but once again, more importantly, Kevin shares some affordable entry level options to get your equipment. So, thank you, Kevin. Been marvelous talking with you, and thank you everybody who attended, who asked questions, who jumped in the hot seat, because this is why we do our interviews on Blab, because we want the interaction. This is a conversation, and we really enjoy engaging and interacting with you as well. So once again, Thursday next week, that's 3 p.m. PST or 9 a.m. Friday morning, Australian Eastern Standard Time, I'll be doing another blab on how to partner with professional associations in selling your courses. Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Kevin, and we'll see you all in the very near future.